On August 28, 2014, Kevin Strauss's camera captured footage that nobody was supposed to see. What he saw was the most disturbing Bigfoot clip in history. This footage reveals something researchers had hoped wasn't true, something extremely terrifying about Bigfoot. Kevin had spent the better part of 4 years building a reputation as one of the more meticulous wildlife documentarians working the Pacific Northwest. At 38, he operated out of Portland, Oregon, with the kind of patience that most filmmakers his age had already given up on. For this particular project, Kevin deployed 12 motion-activated cameras across a 20-square-mile section of Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. All 12 were Reconyx models, angled to capture movement along game trails and natural feeding clearings. Camera 4 was the one that really mattered. Kevin had positioned it near a dense huckleberry patch in a remote valley, approximately 9 miles from the nearest Forest Service road. Getting there required a full day's hike with equipment on both legs of the trip. But that's when everything changed. High on a Douglas fir approximately 15 feet from camera number 4's mounting tree, there were fresh scratches in the bark, deep ones. They ran in parallel lines from roughly 9 feet off the ground up to about 12 feet, suggesting something had raked downward with significant force. Kevin photographed them and noted they were too high and too deep to be consistent with any black bear in the area. Black bears scratch trees as a form of communication. They rear up on their hind legs and mark at the upper limit of their reach. The tallest bear Kevin had documented in this section was a male he estimated at around 400 pounds, capable of reaching about 7 feet standing upright. These scratches started at 9 feet. Whatever made them was reaching above the height of the largest known bear in the study area. Kevin flagged it in his log and left. On June 3, 2014, Kevin made his final equipment check at camera number 4 before leaving the area. He spent several hours adjusting the angle and recalibrating the motion sensors. He noted in his field log that the berries were ripening faster than expected. He noted that peak bear activity was probably 2 to 3 weeks out. He also noted something that didn't belong. The timestamp reads 3:47 p.m., August 28, 2014. The footage opens on a scene so ordinary it barely warrants description. A large male black bear enters the frame from the left, moving towards the huckleberry patch with the unhurried, methodical gait of an animal completely at ease in its environment. Based on comparison to the alder saplings at the right edge of the frame, whose heights Kevin had documented during setup, the bear weighs approximately 350 pounds. It's in peak late summer condition, dense and heavy-shouldered, moving with the kind of settled confidence that comes from weeks of undisturbed feeding at the same location. It drops its head and begins stripping berries. The bear feeds without interruption for 23 seconds. At the 0:23 mark, something shifts. Not in the clearing, in the bear. Its head comes up in a single frame, ears rigid, body locked. It backs 2 steps away from the berry patch. The camera's built-in microphone picks up a low huffing sound, the warning vocalization that black bears produce when they detect something large enough to pose a genuine threat. Not deer, not smaller predators, something the bear's instincts have registered as dangerous before its eyes have found it. The bear rises onto its hind legs at 0:28, reaching approximately 6 feet tall, and scans the tree line at the clearing's far edge. It holds that position for 3 full seconds. At 0:31, Bigfoot steps out of the forest. It doesn't ease into the clearing. It doesn't pause at the tree line. It walks into the open at full height and stops. Later analysis placed the creature at approximately 8.5 feet tall, using the alder saplings and the bear's estimated size as reference points. Weight estimates based on proportion and build ranged from 700 to 800 pounds. The hair covering its body is dark brown, dense, visibly matted in the way hair gets when it's exposed to forest conditions over long periods. Not groomed, not maintained, just grown. There is a lighter coloring across the chest and upper abdomen. The arms are long enough that the hands hang past the knees when relaxed. Each finger is individually visible in the 1080p resolution. The shoulders are wide enough that the frame barely contains them. The face is the part that stopped researchers. A flat nose, wide nostrils, a heavy brow ridge that throws the eyes into shadow. The expression, and every researcher who viewed this footage used that word without being asked to, is not neutral. Lips slightly parted, the jaw set. The eyes on the bear have a quality that a forensic behavioral analyst described in his written assessment as resolved. Not threatening, not displaying, already past that stage. Bigfoot has already decided what will happen. The bear has not run. This detail matters. A 350-pound adult male black bear is not prey. It is one of the apex predators of the Pacific Northwest, capable of driving off mountain lions and holding territory against anything in the regional ecosystem. When black bears encounter threats, they assess the situation. This one assesses for 4 full seconds, while Bigfoot stands motionless at the clearing's edge. And then the bear does something that no wildlife biologist watching this footage expected. It holds its ground. It stays on its hind legs. It huffs again, louder this time, audible on the recording even over the ambient forest noise. Bigfoot doesn't respond. It doesn't posture. It doesn't vocalize. It stands completely still and watches the bear with the same expression it had when it entered the clearing. The stillness lasts 9 seconds. 9 seconds of a 350-pound bear and an 800-pound unknown creature locked in a standoff in a forest clearing that nobody was supposed to be watching. And then Bigfoot takes the first step forward. The approach is not a charge. Not yet. Bigfoot moves across the clearing in a slow, deliberate walk that covers ground without urgency. The kind of movement that communicates something more unsettling than speed. Speed would mean adrenaline. Speed would mean reactivity. This is neither. This is something walking toward a confrontation that it considers already settled. At 0:41, when Bigfoot has closed the distance to approximately 15 feet, the bear drops back to all fours. Standard territorial behavior, dropping to all fours before a charge or a retreat, loading the hindquarters for explosive movement in either direction. The bear's head is low, ears back. It huffs 3 times in rapid succession. Bigfoot stops walking at 12 feet. It stands and looks at the bear. What follows is 14 seconds of footage that forensic behavioral analysts have returned to repeatedly because it doesn't fit any predator-prey interaction template in the database. Bigfoot is not circling. It is not feinting. It is standing 12 feet from a 350-pound bear that is visibly preparing to either charge or flee, and it is simply waiting. The bear's head swings left and right, looking for an exit route, evaluating angles. Bigfoot's head doesn't move. Its eyes track the bear's movement without the head following. The eyes move within the skull, while the face stays forward. The behavior of an animal watching something it expects to be in a specific place when the time comes. At 0:55, the bear makes its decision. It launches forward, a black bear charge, low and fast, covering ground with the explosive acceleration that makes these animals genuinely dangerous. A charging 350-pound black bear hits with enough force to knock a grown person 20 feet. It covers the 12 feet between them in under a second. Bigfoot sidesteps, not backward, not a retreat. A single lateral step to the right that takes it outside the bear's charge line. And as the bear passes, Bigfoot's left hand comes down across the back of the bear's neck. Not a full strike, an open palm push that redirects the bear's momentum and sends it stumbling past, losing its footing on the turn and going down on one knee before scrambling back upright. The bear spins to face Bigfoot again, its breathing hard, audible on the recording. The charge cost it something. Bigfoot is in the same place it was before the step, facing the bear, completely unruffled. The footage shows Bigfoot's posture at this moment with unusual clarity, still upright, arms loose at its sides, head level. It hasn't widened its stance. It hasn't raised its hands. It didn't need to. A 350-pound black bear charged it at full speed, and Bigfoot took one step to the side and redirected it with an open palm. The bear is already bleeding and catching its breath. Bigfoot looks like it hasn't moved at all. For 3 seconds, neither animal moves. The bear at one side of the clearing, Bigfoot at the center, the huckleberry patch behind it, untouched. Then the bear drops lower, shifts its weight to its hindquarters, and comes again. The bear charges again at 1:04, lower this time, faster, angling from the right. Bigfoot doesn't sidestep. It takes one step forward into the charge, directly into the bear's path, and catches the animal by the shoulder with one hand, absorbing the impact without moving, stopping 350 pounds of full-speed black bear with a single outstretched arm. The bear's momentum simply ceases. Its legs scramble against the ground and find no purchase. For 2 full seconds, the recording shows Bigfoot holding a charging black bear at arm's length, while the animal's hind legs work uselessly against the earth. The bear doesn't stop trying. That's the part the footage makes clear. While it's suspended at arm's length, feet off the ground, all forward momentum gone, it twists its neck and bites down on Bigfoot's extended forearm. The bite is visible on the recording. The bear locks its jaws and wrenches sideways, the way bears break limbs and uproot stumps. Bigfoot's arm does not move. The grip on the shoulder does not release. For a full second, a 350-pound black bear is biting down with everything it has on an arm that does not react. Then Bigfoot releases it. The bear stumbles back, shaking its head. It is bleeding now, somewhere around the left ear, a dark line visible in the footage. It didn't get that from Bigfoot's hand. It got it from the impact, from hitting something that simply didn't give. The clearing is quiet for 6 seconds. At 1:12, something in the bear's posture changes. The aggression has not left. The ears are still back, the head still low, but there is a new quality in its movement, something tighter and less committed. The bear circles left, staying at roughly 10 feet, watching Bigfoot's hands. Bigfoot pivots to track it, still standing straight, still unhurried. The bear circles right. Bigfoot pivots again. This continues for 47 seconds. What the footage shows for the next 47 seconds is one of the most analytically unusual sequences in the entire recording. The bear circles at a consistent radius, probing. It accelerates, then slows. It feints left, recovers, feints right. Each movement is met with nothing more than a pivot from Bigfoot, keeping its front oriented toward the bear, hands loose at its sides. 3 times during the circle, the bear makes short, partial lunges, not full charges, to test responses. Each time, Bigfoot moves into the lunge rather than back from it, one hand coming forward as a block or redirect. The contact brief and controlled. After the 3rd lunge, the bear retreats to 15 feet and stops circling. There is a 4th exchange that researchers note separately. At approximately 1:43, the bear stops circling and stands still 10 feet away, facing Bigfoot directly. It holds that position for 4 seconds, the longest it has been completely motionless since Bigfoot entered the clearing. Then it rises onto its hind legs again. The same posture as 0:28, the same attempt to make itself large, the same forepaws up. It is taller than most predators it has encountered in this forest. It is 6 feet tall and 350 pounds, out of options, and trying the thing that has worked on everything else. Bigfoot watches it from 10 feet away without changing its expression. The bear holds the posture for 3 seconds. Then it drops back to all fours, backs 2 steps, and makes the low, sustained moan that comes next. At 1:59, the bear does something that wildlife biologists reviewing this footage noted as genuinely unusual. It vocalizes, not a huff, but a longer, lower sound. The kind of sustained moan that black bears produce in situations of extreme stress. It is not a combat sound. It is closer to what researchers describe as a distress call, the kind of sound bears make when they are injured or cornered. The bear is neither injured enough to justify that vocalization, nor cornered in any physical sense. The clearing has open exits in 3 directions. The bear is making that sound because of what it is standing 15 feet from. Bigfoot doesn't react to the sound. It doesn't move toward the bear. It doesn't move away. It stands at the center of the clearing with the same quality of settled stillness it has maintained since it stopped walking at 0:41. And it watches the bear produce a sound that, in over 4 years of footage, Kevin had never once recorded a black bear making in an open clearing with multiple escape routes available. At 2:14, the bear tries to leave. It turns away from Bigfoot and moves toward the tree line at the clearing's south edge, low and fast, not quite running. The exit is 30 feet away. Open ground, no obstacles. 3 seconds at the bear's current speed, and it reaches cover. And for 3 seconds that researchers have flagged in every analysis of this footage, Bigfoot simply watches it go. The bear covers 8 feet before Bigfoot moves. Then it moves. At 2:17, Bigfoot covers the distance to the retreating bear in 4 strides, not at full speed, deliberately. The bear hears it coming and tries to accelerate toward the tree line, and Bigfoot cuts left, angles ahead of the bear's path, and stops directly between the bear and the forest exit. The bear pulls up short. It is now 8 feet from Bigfoot and approximately 25 feet from the nearest tree line. It turns and looks for another exit. Bigfoot watches it look. When the bear begins moving toward the east edge of the clearing, Bigfoot moves first, cutting that angle too, positioning again between the bear and the trees. This happens 4 times in 38 seconds. Each time, the pattern is the same. The bear picks an angle toward the tree line, south edge, east edge, a gap between 2 large firs at the northwest corner, and begins moving. Each time, Bigfoot is already there before the bear arrives. Not running, not scrambling. Moving at a pace that shouldn't be fast enough to cut off a bear at full acceleration, but arriving first regardless. On the 3rd attempt, the bear gets within 6 feet of the tree line before Bigfoot steps into the gap. On the 4th attempt, it doesn't get that far. By the 5th, the bear doesn't pick a direction at all. It slows to a stop at the center of the clearing and stands there. By 2:55, the bear has stopped trying to reach the tree line. It is standing at the center of the clearing, where Bigfoot has herded it, turning in slow circles. Its breathing is audible on the recording. It is not badly injured. The cut near its ear is minor, and the stumbles from the earlier exchanges left nothing visible. But it has been outmaneuvered 4 times in under a minute by something that never appeared to hurry, and it has run out of angles. Bigfoot has been guiding the bear toward the center of the clearing with the same calm deliberateness it has shown since it entered the frame. Not pursuing, not attacking. Positioning. The bear stands in the open at the center of the clearing, and Bigfoot stands between it and every exit, and for 22 seconds, nothing moves at all. The bear is 9 feet from Bigfoot. Bigfoot is standing with its arms at its sides. The bear's ears are flat, its head low, its weight settled over its hindquarters. It is ready to charge or ready to run. Both options are available in its body, loaded and waiting for the decision. What is not available, and what the bear seems to be processing for the first time in the footage, is a path that doesn't go through the thing standing in front of it. At 3:14, the bear's head moves, not toward Bigfoot, sideways, scanning the tree line to the east one more time. The gap between the 2 large firs at the northwest corner. The south edge, back to Bigfoot. The scan takes 4 seconds and finds nothing new. Bigfoot blocked all of those angles already and is standing between the bear and every one of them. The bear's head comes back to the center, to Bigfoot. 3 seconds of absolute stillness. Then the bear charges. At 3:17, it lowers its head and goes straight at Bigfoot. Not for the tree line, not angled, just directly forward at full speed with everything it has left. Bigfoot takes 1 step back to absorb the incoming force and catches the bear by both shoulders as it arrives. The impact is audible on the recording. The heaviest sound in the entire 5-minute clip, louder than the earlier exchanges. A collision between 350 pounds of forward momentum and something that doesn't move. The bear's legs keep churning for 2 full seconds, going nowhere, while Bigfoot holds it at full extension, both hands locked on the animal's shoulders, looking down at it. The bear bites again. Same thing it tried at 1:04, jaws locking on Bigfoot's right forearm, full force, twisting. The bite holds for 2 seconds. The arm doesn't move. Bigfoot looks down at it, the way you might look at something pulling on your sleeve. Then Bigfoot lifts the bear off the ground and holds it there, all 4 paws off the earth, dangling, for a full 3 seconds. The camera is close enough that individual muscles are visible moving under the hair of Bigfoot's forearms as it holds the weight. The bear makes no sound. It has gone from the loudest and most aggressive animal in this forest to completely silent in under 4 minutes. Bigfoot carries it to the center of the clearing. At 3:34, it sets the bear down on its feet, releases it, steps back. The bear lands on all 4s. It takes 1 stumbling step sideways to regain its balance, then goes still. It does not immediately try to run. It does not charge. Its head is up, breathing loud enough to pick up on the recording, the cut near its ear still visible. It is looking at Bigfoot with the same fixed attention it has had since 031, but there is nothing in that attention now that resembles the aggression from the first two charges. The behavioral analyst who reviewed the footage described the bear's posture at 3:34 as orientation without intent. The body pointed toward the threat. No commitment behind it. Bigfoot stands 2 feet away and looks back at it for 4 seconds. Then it turns and walks to the berry patch. The bear does not run. It stands where Bigfoot placed it, breathing hard, head low. It doesn't attempt another exit. It doesn't charge. Whatever the last 4 minutes have communicated, the bear has received the message. It stands in the open at the center of the clearing, and it waits. And Bigfoot walks back to the huckleberry patch and begins feeding. For the next 97 seconds, from 3:34 to 5:11, the camera records Bigfoot feeding and the bear standing motionless in the center of the clearing, watching it. Bigfoot strips berries methodically, covering the patch in the same systematic route the bear had been using before the standoff began. It moves without hurry. Occasionally, it glances at the bear, not with threat, not with monitoring attention, with the glance of something checking on something it has put somewhere. At 4:02, the bear takes 1 step toward the tree line. Just 1. It stops. Bigfoot doesn't look up from the berry patch. It keeps feeding. The bear holds its position for 11 seconds, then steps back to where it was. At 4:19, the bear takes 2 steps in a different direction, toward the north edge of the clearing. It stops again. Bigfoot still doesn't look up. The bear watches Bigfoot's back for 8 seconds, assessing whether the inattention is real or a trap. Then it steps back. It doesn't try again after that. The bear does not leave. It stands in the open and watches a creature it cannot fight, feeding on berries it had arrived to claim for itself, and does not move. At 5:04, Bigfoot finishes the eastern edge of the patch. It pauses. It looks at the bear for the first time, with the same expression it entered the clearing with, that resolved, settled quality that researchers kept returning to when describing the face at 031. What happens next is what the footage is named for. It is the last 7 seconds of the recording. It is the darkest thing ever documented on a wildlife camera in the Pacific Northwest. And it is the reason Kevin watched this clip 6 times in a row before he took his pack off. At 5:05, Bigfoot moves toward the bear, not walking this time, not the deliberate, calculated approach from the beginning. 3 fast strides that close the remaining distance in under 2 seconds. The bear has been watching Bigfoot feed for 97 seconds. It has seen Bigfoot's back. It has tested the gaps twice and found nothing. When Bigfoot turns and moves, the bear has less than 2 seconds to process the change before the distance is gone. The bear doesn't run. It hasn't had a plan that worked yet, and it has nowhere left to go. And it has been standing in the open for 97 seconds, absorbing whatever the last 4 minutes have meant to its instincts. It does the only thing left. It rises on its hind legs, full height, the same defensive posture it tried at the very beginning when Bigfoot first emerged from the tree line, 6 feet tall, 4 paws raised, making itself as large as it can be. Bigfoot grabs it by the throat with one hand. The grip is immediate and complete, one hand closing around the bear's neck while it is still rising, stopping the movement entirely. Bigfoot's arm is fully extended. The bear is off the ground with its hind legs, scrambling in the air. It lasted this long. It survived the charges, survived being held at arm's length, survived being lifted and set back down, survived 97 seconds of standing in the open while the thing that herded it there ate berries. It is still fighting. It rakes Bigfoot's forearm with both sets of claws, audible on the recording, 4 rapid impacts that tear through the hair and leave marks visible in the frame. And Bigfoot does not release the grip. The arm doesn't bend. It doesn't shift. The individual muscles visible beneath the hair of that extended forearm don't change. Holding 350 pounds at arm's length with one hand, with a bear actively tearing at the skin, is something no known primate and no known predator in the Pacific Northwest can do. Bigfoot does it for 3 seconds without visible effort. At 5:08, Bigfoot drives the bear into the ground face first, with enough force to send a visible plume of dust and debris up into the frame. The sound it makes is the loudest thing on the recording by a significant margin. The bear does not get up. Bigfoot 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 does not get up What follows in the final seconds of footage is the detail that caused multiple researchers to turn off the recording before it finished. Bigfoot drops to one knee over the bear. The feeding that follows is immediate and methodical, and it does not stop before the recording ends. The creature that spent 4 minutes herding this bear to the center of a clearing, that held it off the ground with one hand and set it back down, and then fed peacefully for 97 seconds before deciding the time had arrived. The total footage was 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Kevin retrieved camera number 4's memory card on September 4th, 2014, during a routine maintenance sweep. He watched the footage 6 times, standing in the forest. His field notes from that afternoon are 4 lines long. He wrote that he didn't know how to categorize what he had filmed, and that he needed to hike to camera number 4's position before leaving. He did. The bear's carcass was still partially at the site, scavenged in the week since its death, but identifiable by size and positioned where the footage showed it had ended up. Kevin returned to that location a year later. He found new scratch marks on the same Douglas fir, higher than before, reaching 14 feet, requiring an extension that exceeded even the creature's documented height. Made exactly 1 year after the attack, at the same tree, in the same pattern. Bigfoot was still alive. If you liked this video, check out this one